Hey everyone, welcome to episode 55 of the Paddle Talk podcast. We've got a great show for you coming up. With me, as always, a great panel. We have our West Coast correspondent, Caleb Mings, on board, our Midwest correspondent, Damian Bowers, on board with a report. We have our newly Southeast correspondent, John Sorg, coming all the way from Florida this week. And of course, producer Billy. Great to see everybody. Happy holidays. Hope Christmas was everything you wanted and needed it to be. And just a reminder, folks, this episode, as with every episode, brought to you by Racing in the Dirt. If you didn't get what you wanted for Christmas for your 2025 race season, get a hold of Racing in the Dirt now. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, the UPS Daily. Everything from wheels, driveline parts, to full turnkey builds. Racing in the Dirt can get your 2025 season started with a bang. So contact them today. You can find them on Facebook or give them a ring at the shop. Also, you can find them at racinginthedirt.com. That's racinginthedirt.com. All right, so episode 55 off with a bang, and our first segment this week is going to be all about PRI. For those of you that don't know, PRI is Professional Racers Industry Show. Happens in Indianapolis, Indiana, first weekend of December. Usually, sometimes it can be fairly warm. Some years it's pretty cold down there. But it's racers from all over the U.S. getting together, seeing the latest and greatest stuff that's out there. Also, you've got most of your major sanctioning bodies end up there as well. A lot of them even have banquets and hand out some awards while they're there. So it's a big deal, especially if you're a racer, to get down there, go in on Saturday. The media slash exhibitor days, I believe, are what? Thursday and Friday, Damian Bowers?
Oh, it's a lot of interesting stuff. They even do a big party after the show on Friday night in the sort of promenade of Lucas Oil Stadium. They take up the entire Lucas Oil Stadium as a show area just for trailers, campers, toter homes, lifts, any of those bigger items that a lot of racers really like to look at. But there was some really cool smaller stuff at the show. One of my favorite things I seen there might be a better thing in my opinion for some of the turbo guys is they had a trans brake there. And for any of you guys that like shooting, trap shooting, sports shooting of any kind, they had a trans brake activated by a gun trigger. Mounts in behind the steering wheel a little bit. You pull in, you stage, you flip a switch up, and that locks your trans brake in. And the moment you pull that trigger, you're off.
See, I would almost think there's trap guns out there that I've seen where actually the trigger works reverse. It's a release trigger versus, and I thought it would have been more like that. That's why I was kind of surprised it was engaging the trigger would let the car go versus a release type trigger. But you saw it in person, and what'd you think?
It's something different. Like I said, in some places, especially like when we go up to Michigan, your guys' tree drops so quickly up there at Silverback. It would, I think, it'd be almost too much to go on and flick it up, and then oh, there's the tree already. Unless you're got it's like a turbo car where you're bumping in, you set the pre-stage, you bump in, you can just have your finger ready on the trigger. And on the mention of release triggers, yeah, my dad actually is a trap shooter, and he utilizes a release trigger to keep him from flinching when he pulls the trigger. But
Yeah, that's really weird. The first time you see one, it really messes with your head because you see the movement and you're like, wait, that's not what I thought. But 100%, it's for flinching and stuff like that, and it's very cool. Once shooting one sometimes gets in your head a little bit if you haven't shot one in a while or you haven't shot one at all. But very interesting. Um, John Sorg, if you were on the ground at PRI, what booth is your first stop?
What booth would be my first stop?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like blowers, so probably DMPE. I'd probably roll over there by Darren Mayer and check his shit out. He's always got some awesome stuff.
Also true. That is quite well. Caleb
But the
Mings.
reason I tell you what, I gotta confess here. There's a reason I don't go to PRI, and it's because I know I'll go there and I will just absolutely hate my life. I'll come home. I want everything in there, and I know I can't afford it. So it's like going home, and the whole ride home, you're just miserable, you know.
I mean, occasionally I go up and I end up buying something, but usually it ain't too bad. Ended up getting myself a little head and neck restraint here. Hopefully it helps improve our safety for the year coming forward.
I like that, Damian. I like
Nice.
that, and Johnny. I think there's a lot to what you're saying there too, especially being so close, to Michigan here.
It's a
I hear
horrible
you,
feeling.
John. I tell you, to answer your question, Isaac, I would probably go to the Pro Charger booth and be kind of in the same boat as John there, looking at the price tags of some of those Pro Chargers and going, yeah, I would have to sell everything I own and then still sell a kidney, and maybe I could afford one of the small Pro Chargers.
And even
Right.
then, you'd have to get something bigger to turn it.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Well,
think
hey, yeah,
especially
I'm not saying I'm putting this on the Banshee.
How cool would
especially
that
with
be?
thinking about the Pro Charger part, it really puts it in. I think it helps people put it in perspective because, like, say you watch Street Outlaws or something like that, and you see him swapping out a turbo, swapping out a Pro Charger or something like that. Um, Budget is out the window at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
Aren't
there's
those
not a
running about 35K a piece or something like that for a Pro Charger?
I think some of the
They're
big
just,
ones are like upwards of 50 or 60.
and they'll
yes,
drop one out after 4 or 5 passes. I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah. That's amazing. So to me, but all right. So there was some, from what I saw, there were some pretty cool cars up there. Damien, you actually ran into some of our friends of the show up there. Mr. Casey Lawyer being one of them, hanging out by the Hooker Harness booth. Anybody else you saw that notable?
I ran into the McCord group, the Boosted Adrenaline and whatnot team. They were there. I seen them for a short second. They were hauling something out of there. I don't know what they bought, but they bought something in a very big box and wanted to make sure they got it out to the truck quick. Also, I talked to Brandon Culleton. We actually posted that interview here a couple weeks ago during the show. He is our pure street gas record holder with a twin turbo LS long bed Chevy that he actually placed in a drag and drive not a few weeks after that in his first drag and drive with the truck.
Wow, that's cool. That is
And
really cool.
and then obviously Casey Lawyer, talked to him at his sponsors, the Hooker Harness, who helped keep him safe during that nasty wreck last year. Hooker Harness, a very neat designed harness. Instead of normally, you know how we have those straps that we have to pull on our lap belts to pull them tight. Hooker Harness has designed it to where it's a ratchet down on the floor with like a snap-on ratchet on it, or Harbor Freight, whichever you use, and you crank it down with that, so you can get a lot tighter than you can with a normal lap belt. Also ran into Willie Bursley. He talked to him about some of the upgrades coming to his Jeep for next year. I believe he's going to a converter drive Lenko setup with the Jeep. So we'll see how strong that thing's going to run in the coming year.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, a
right.
lot
I
of
mean,
cool places, a lot of cool things going down.
yeah.
Damian, I know
Hooker
you
Harness
said you
is
ran into
cool.
Brennan Colton. I just saw he posted up like kind of a challenge for this next year. You mentioned him doing the drag and drive. He wants to do somebody that can run a 300-foot dirt drag and then go to a pavement eighth mile and then do a drag and drive after that for
That would be
2025.
definitely interesting to see. I know there are a few vehicles in our sport that can do it. I don't know of many that can do it with the pace his truck has.
Yeah, no kidding. That would be very interesting. I was surprised once I found out about Hooker harnesses how well they are known in the aviation industry. That was very interesting. So they're all over when it comes to airplanes and stuff like that.
Aviation, many monster truck teams run their harnesses, and there's something that will really abuse a harness because, and in the best description I've heard from my friends that drive monster trucks, even a smooth landing is like a light car crash.
Yeah. Well, did you see
Hey,
there's
they make
new?
sense.
I just saw the other day there's actually a new NHRA spec that I believe 750 and quicker, you have to have a 7-point harness now.
I didn't know that had become a requirement, but I know they've been out there for a long time. A lot of the desert racing world and the monster truck world use that 7-point style harness.
I believe so. If it's not the beginning of the year, I believe it's by July 1. Your car, anything run like Top Sportsman, that is going to be a requirement. So,
I also ran into the Bonnickers there. Wayne just telling me they had found some issues with why that car was getting out of shape with the front end of the truck of his self-inflicted little roadster pickup where the engine's taller than the rest of the car. And he mentioned, I talked to him a little bit, he mentioned possibly looking at going after our naturally aspirated big block four-wheel drive record, which is still held by a small block of all things.
Oh yeah, that's a mean
And
small block though.
that it is.
yeah, that could be very interesting. I'd like to see that him take up that challenge. So, all right.
Now
Anything else you saw there, Damian?
I seen a lot of stuff. Farm truck had the OG farm truck there. Murder Nova, he had his No Prep Kings car that he won the championship with at the Pro Charger booth. Met up with my old bosses from Borowski. They are doing really well, it seems like. Still building a lot of wild LS combinations. They had a giveaway motor, a 1,000 horse, I believe, big block Chevy with a couple plates on it. There was all sorts of neat stuff. One thing I didn't find that I kind of wanted to see was the LS or the Chevy Colorado with a compressed air boost system.
Interesting.
So instead
I've
of
seen those. I don't know. I'm gonna have a hot take here real quick on that. Even though yes, it obviously it works. You're using compressed air as your supercharger essentially. I just look at it the amount of compressed air you need to run versus the weight. I don't think that it makes sense over traditional other forms of boost that you can make.
Interesting. Okay.
on that note, it has been around since at least the 70s. I know Mickey Thompson had experimented with it as well. Tank technology, just like in nitrous, propane tanks for propane fueled vehicles, leaning into my alt fuels training from college, they've gotten into building tanks out of carbon fiber, Kevlar, lighter stuff. And these tanks are handling 5 times the pressure of what a nitrous bottle is at, 5,000 psi sometimes. So just imagine you're cutting that down to where when it's entering the engine, you're only seeing 7, 14, maybe 20 psi. And then you're controlling the atmosphere completely. No outside moisture unless when you were pumping the air into your tanks, if there was moisture getting in there, that's the only way you're getting moisture into that engine.
Very
Well, hey,
interesting.
if they can get the weight down, and still, weight and size, because that's another component of it too,
Oh
right?
yeah, the tanks are massive. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But it's
Interesting.
definitely an interesting combination. I look forward to seeing more and more of it in the future of where it goes.
Yeah, it seems like that seems like a technology that needs that one guy to really step up and totally, kind of take it under his wing, so to speak, and be like, hey, I'm gonna develop this and I'm gonna figure it out. As a lot of other stuff has been, I mean, look at even nitrous back in the day. Took some of the guys that just decided to own it, so to speak, and hey, I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna figure this out, one way or the other, and look where we are today, as far as nitrous goes. So, all right, no, sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of walking. Did you take your stepometer with you and see how many steps you had there, Damian?
I did take my phone, but I never did actually take a look. So it was probably well north of 10,000 a day.
Nice,
Now,
nice.
anything you guys seen online that you wanted to really see in person?
I saw a couple things that were located, like they said, out in like the outer halls. Not the main hall, but kind of in the atrium, I guess. Type of things. That looked pretty interesting. One was I believe, a Shelby car that had some interesting history to it, and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Caleb, anything you saw online that you wanted to see more of?
I just wanted to actually mess, going back to that trigger style trans brake. I wanted to mess with it because I'm coming from the bike world and stuff, so still we're letting go of a clutch. It's just a little bit different, but I'm thinking about maybe, like when I'm just watching other people up on the tree, I always kind of like tense up, right, to practice my reaction times, which opposite of what I probably should be doing. But I'm like, maybe that trigger thing might be a cool deal.
Sure. John Sorg, anything you wanted to see that you saw online?
I don't know. I'm back to this whole trigger thing. This whole trigger thing is just wild to me. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Isaac? You're a hunter. You put that thing in your hand. I mean, are you going to go for the light or are you going to go for a duck?
I could be distracted. I am easily distracted, so it might not be the best thing for me to have, Squirrel, oh, nuts, But
What
no,
do you do?
no, it sounds like a great time. Damian, great work while you were down there, and appreciate everything you could do for us while we were down there. So, all right, so that's gonna wrap up our segment about PRI this year. And Caleb Miggs, you have an ad read.
Yeah, so just with the Christmas presents, if you didn't get what you wanted, you need to get something for your favorite racer. Maybe you forgot, and great present that you can get them going into the new year here is a photo from World Sand Drag News. Go ahead, check out the website, worldsandragnews.com. Go and click on the photo tab, and we have all of our 2024 galleries are uploaded now. So go through, check out everything from all across the U.S., all the photos we've got on there. Buy yourself a digital download or a print option, and make a great present going into the new year for the trophy case.
That's right. Whether you're talking inside a trailer, inside your shop, or even something to display on your desk, or even inside your house, plenty of great photos on there. Our photo squad guys do an amazing job, and yeah, hats off to them. And also take a look through the albums once. You might see something you didn't even know that happened. So, all right, so that's going to wrap up our first segment for episode 55 of Paddle Talk. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode 55 of the Paddle Talk podcast. And in this segment, we are talking all things John Sorg race related. Because I don't have a working title on this, but so Johnny, you put together the Larry Wagner Memorial Race last summer. That'd be 2024. First weekend in August. We're doing a repeat performance at Silverback Offroad Speedway, August 1st and 2nd, 2025. And what do you got for us? What should somebody expect coming to this race on that weekend?
Well, you're going to expect a lot. You're going to expect 295 down to ATVs. I mean, everybody's invited. It's going to be our standard class schedule. Plus, we'll have 295. We will also have a 4-cylinder class repeat of what we had last year. And this year, the theme has changed a little bit. We're doing the Fallen Legends. And we're going to do some classes to honor some of these guys that we've lost in the last year or so. Kind of started to give you an idea of what we're doing. For instance, 325 class, we'll be honoring Bob Reitman. Quick 16 will be Bob Cameron. Pro Truck will be Brian Harrison. Open Mod will be John Schultz. Pro ATV will be Steph Taylor. ATV will be Matt Smith Sr. And then we'll cap it off with that Larry Wagner class at the end. So
I tell you what, man, I love that because for those of you that don't know, every name that John mentioned fits so well with that class. I mean, I'm just going to pick on John Schultz because John knew him pretty well, raced with him a ton. John was an open mod / modified bracket guy. I mean, he was a dude that loved going 5.5 seconds and was happy as you could. I mean, seriously, I remember the first day he broke into the fives. He ran like a 598. you would have thought that dude just ran a 280 by the smile on his face. I mean, that's the kind of guy he was, and that's fantastic, man. I love it, and I love that idea, and I think you're really on a good spot there, Johnny. So
Schultz was the kind of guy that jumped over to when a tractor broke down. The guy jumped over there and worked on a tractor. I mean, he was there to help everybody. So it's really
absolutely
awesome that we get the opportunity to kind of, for any one of these guys to
Yep.
be able to put a memorial out for them is just an honor to be able to do it. And I can't wait to see what happens. We've got a lot of good feedback. A lot of guys are coming. So
That's
more to
awesome, man.
come. I
love
mean,
it.
it's
So
it's like I said, this is in the birthplace of it, and now as things add up and sponsors come on board, I'll keep you guys posted.
nice.
John, are
So
you guys going to do like a sorry, go ahead, Isaac.
no, so August 1st and 2nd, that's a Friday and a Saturday night.
Correct.
What I'm assuming probably open test and tune during the day on Friday, followed by a couple
Followed by a
classes on
4.0,
Friday
a
night.
350, and a 29 couple 295 qualifiers,
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
and an open mod class or open bracket, whatever we call it that night. But
Yep.
yes.
Yep. I like it. Caleb, what were you heading for?
Yeah, so just thinking back to the Larry Wagner Memorial Race with that, one of the coolest things I really liked about that race, John, was just kind of having the memorial display. Are you going to do like an even bigger and better memorial display for all of those racers?
I am in the birth of this, and I am going to work on that. But it is somewhat in the works. But yeah, I'd like to do a repeat of that. It's as long as I can get the vehicles and support. Yes, absolutely.
All right, you guys, you heard it. Talk to John, get him some photos, get the vehicles out there. Let's make that little display into a big one.
Let's do it, guys.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. So, all right, Johnny, you got any sponsors on board already, or are we still in the firming up stage?
I'm firming them up, but I've got, for instance, Apple Tree Automotive will be in the 4-cylinder deal. I got Mike Page stepping up in 325, for the Reitman, obviously. So those are jumping on board, and I have literally just gotten the final clearance from these guys right before Christmas. So,
Nice.
like I said, it's all in the infancy. So,
all right, and folks, World Sand Drag News is going to be on site all weekend, bringing you coverage as we did last year. So look for us there, and yeah, should be a great event. Now, just to shift gears a little bit, and we're just moving over a little, I promise. There might be another race if that's not your cup of tea. There might be another race. Damian Bowers, what do you have for us?
Well, the main thing on the schedule there, and it's tentative, it's not final yet, but right now, Cleves, the IOK four wheelers, the Gravelrama grounds is looking to have the Texas Mud Drag Series at the Gravelrama grounds August 1st and 2nd as well.
More schedule conflicts.
Thankfully, it's not going to be as big of a crossover because a lot of the people that are going to be going to that memorial race are going to be more your standard bracket racers. A lot of Michigan guys. There's going to be some that come up from down here. The Texas Mud Drags obviously caters more to the mud crowd, the heads up crowd,
sure.
And the door car crowd. Even though you guys are going to have a pro track class up there, the heads up crowd is going to want to go down and do something a little different, probably.
Yep, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Hopefully it's not as big of a crossover as we see with the Franklin County and the pro truck deal. I know that's all going to come down to which side of the fence you're on. Obviously, me being down here, I'm going to go to the Franklin County race, even though I still have yet to run in a pro truck class and want to so bad I can't see straight. It just never seems to work out.
Well, you say that.
Someday, Damian, you just have to leave the nest.
I'll just say that there might be some things in the works pro truck wise that may make you want to reconsider, and that's all I'm going to say at this point. So,
Little teasing there, Isaac.
Unfortunately for this year, it's probably not going to happen. I'm hoping to try and make another race in Michigan this year, probably the Texas Mud Drags race, whether it be just go up there to cover it 2 weeks before the Outlaws race or go up there and race myself. But at the bare minimum, I will be up there for the Outlaws race. But also, along with that announcement, we do have the rest of the IOK four-wheeler schedule finalized for this year, starting with obviously the Spring Fling, the Outlaw race. That is the opener for the Outlaw Sand Drag Series, May 16th and 17th. Then June 6th and 7th, Cleves is having their big money race. Gravelrama is August 17th through the 25th. They're going to have a fall bracket race in September, the 26th and the 27th. And then obviously one of the more fun races all year, even if the weather doesn't always cooperate, Last to Blast, August 24th and 25th.
I've got a hot take. I hate the June date. And here's why. I'm going to throw this out. And I discussed this with a couple guys even last summer when they were talking about changing the date for Gravelrama. And that was one of the possibles, was moving it to June. That date is horrendous. And here's why. Graduations, weddings, kids still in school. It makes it hard to travel. It makes it tough to get people lined up to do it, not only to volunteer and run a good race, but it also makes it hard for people to get there to race itself. Again, just my hot take, but I'm not a fan.
Thankfully, it's their big money bracket race. So being a bracket race, they don't need quite the staff. They're not going to run the hill drags. They're not going to run the Eliminator Hill. It's still June through July is just stacked for races this year.
It is.
I feel like, unfortunately, we're going to see some people having to pick and choose races more than they have in the past.
All you guys in the friggin' Midwest are crying about having to pick and choose races.
Hey, man, I think I said this a couple pods ago. It's an awesome problem to have. It really is.
Yes, it is.
It
It is a very great problem to have.
And Caleb, we're all ATV friendly out here too. So I mean, that's another hurdle you got.
Look at Damian. Don't look at Damian.
Yeah,
don't look at Damian.
Not
He's not ATV friendly down there.
Except for Shelton's, where mini bike tries and throws me.
This is true.
It was just getting back at you for all your wing digger comments is what happened there. So you talk about call out. The mini bike had your number, buddy.
it played nicer in time trials and then first round.
It's like a wild animal calls you to sleep and then just pounces.
I really want you to get back on the mini bike, Damian, and win it all. You got to get back on the horse that bucked you.
If you've got one and I make the trip out there, it's not set in stone yet, but once I figure out when and where our guys are going, because I know at least Farwick is planning to go out west. I don't know which race for sure, but he mentioned possibly Dome in March. Not going to guarantee that, but if that's the case, I'm going to look to try and make it out to Dome to cover a race. If you got something I can ride that ain't too fast.
Oh, I got you. I got you covered. I don't got a mini bike, but I got some pit bikes.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Get you on the little 70 ATC.
There we go.
Do some neutral drops.
Classic. All right. So, Johnny, last word on August 1 and 2 then.
Be there. It's going to be eventful. We pulled it off in good form last year, and I can guarantee it'll be a great one again this year.
That's right. I would agree with that. And hey, if you're out there and you're interested in getting on board with sponsorship, get a hold of John, and he would be more than happy to talk with you about that.
Please do. If you want to throw money at any of these guys, man, and put it in the class, all the money goes back to the races at the end of the night. So bring it in. That'd be great.
I'll make a pitch. I would love to see some guys get together that may have raced, back in the day, say with Matt Smith Sr. in ATV, or even, John Schultz or Bob Reitman, whoever, but guys that ran together with the class that even if they kicked in, I don't know, 50 apiece or something like that,
Sure.
that would be awesome to see that and see, peers of these guys and gals get
I've
together
had
and
people
do
throw
that.
100 or 250 at it. Up, I've had 1,000 thrown at it.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I think
it
that'd be
varies
really cool.
everywhere.
So, all right.
I don't
So
discriminate on donations. So
that's right. There's no discrimination there. So, all right. So that is going to wrap up this segment of the Paddle Talk Podcast, episode 55, brought to you by Racing in the Dirt. Is your 2025 season coming faster than you imagine? Have no fear. Racing in the Dirt ships UPS daily and ready to get you on your way to a winning season for 2025. So contact them today by phone or racinginthedirt.com or find them on Facebook. That's racinginthedirt.com. All right, we're back with our wrap up segment for episode 55 of the Paddle Talk Podcast. We're talking New Year's resolutions, and since we're recording this just before New Year's, what a way to break in 2025 by some of our staff's look ahead. So, John Sorg, we're going to let you go first. And what do you got, buddy?
I think, more of a resolution. I think it's more of a goal. And I think the goal is to hit as many tracks as I can get to this summer that I can possibly go to. I had so much fun last summer meeting everybody, and to try to be able to do it again, that's the big goal. If I can do a repeat plus, that would be amazing to go to a bunch of different tracks like that.
I like it. I like it. All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot. New Year's resolution: over under 4 round wins against K Dub this summer.
Oh, that's easy. It's over. Totally over, man. I'm his daddy. I got him. I got the belt. I mean,
Poor K Dub ain't even here to defend himself.
Hey man,
bring it
you
on,
snooze, you
K-Dub.
lose. That's not my deal.
Then again, them boys tend to have trouble when they line up against an orange Jeep too. So both
Well,
of them brothers.
Sean Roth
Oh,
went down there the other day. Sean Roth had to stop by K-Dub's house, and I asked Sean, I said, can you make sure I'm not like pinned on his refrigerator anymore, on the K-Dub fridge,
With
on
a
his
nail
enemies
through your
list?
forehead.
Yeah. I never did get the results of that, but I'm pretty sure I'm still on there.
all righty. It sounds good, Johnny. I like where you're headed with that. All right, Caleb Mings, you're up next.
Well, I wish I could go and travel to a lot more races, but we're a little short on tracks to go visit here on the West Coast right now. So I'm just gonna try to hit up as many of them as I can. Put the Banshee, the weight class bike, into the 80s this last year. We're going to try to keep ticking away at it. I hope I can get it into the 70s come the end of the year, at least. That's where we're kind of heading to be able to be competitive in that class, at least get close to that top 10 list. So that's a big thing. We've definitely learned a lot. There's a lot more that we can go just tuning wise on that. I'm also still trying to lose a little weight because we're still over quite a bit for the weight minimum for that class. So I think that'll help out a little bit as well. And big things coming for the World Sand Drag News side of things. We've got a bunch of new things coming for 2025. We've got some updates to the records. We're going to be adding a classifieds page. And I'll do a little quick plug of that. We'll make a post about this as well, but we need to fill the classified page up. So for a limited time, we're going to give that to you guys for free. Hit us up, message us on World Sand Drag News, the Facebook page, Instagram, or worldsandragnews@gmail.com. Send us your rides, prices, the details on that. We're going to get that going here in the new year. And a lot of new things we want to be doing. We're going to be posting a lot more stories, a lot more content, and just really looking forward to 2025.
Awesome, man. We appreciate, and I, from myself, probably the other guys, and everybody else out there, we appreciate you and Billy and how much hard work you guys put into it, Caleb. So that's awesome,
Absolutely.
and
Very
to see
much
more stuff
so.
coming. I love it. So, all right, Damian Bowers.
Well, on WSDN side, I'm hoping I can get out to a few more different races, check out some other stuff other than just what I normally do, Brookville, Michigan, Cleves. Possibly looking at going, like I said earlier, out west to cover a race. Maybe look at going out to Lisbon finally, a bunch of other stuff. And then on the car side of things, this past year we finally got into the 390s with the Jeep at the end of the year at Last Blast. Maybe look at getting into the 380s with the 6-liter, and then try and get through Gravelrama without torching that poor little 4.8 more than we already have. That motor has been through hell in 3 years.
That is true. You guys have leaned on that thing pretty hard, and yeah, hopefully rewards you for that at the end of gravel. So that's pretty good. Well, for myself, two things. One, trying to be healthier for 2025. Maybe lose a little weight myself as well, we'll just put it this way. My new ride could use a little less weight, so probably not a bad idea. And on the WSDN side of things, same thing. Try to continue to bring you guys some great coverage and also expand what we do. Get into maybe some deeper stuff a little bit, and hoping we can bring you some content we haven't previously brought you, and really, really step that up. And trying to just do better at everything we're doing, and get some things out there. So Caleb's right. Got some things in the fire for 2025. Really excited. And just want to say, too, at the end of 2024 here, really appreciate all these guys and everybody that comes on the pod with us. We greatly appreciate it. Appreciate the guests, and that you're willing to give up some time to talk about your racing and stuff. And hopefully we can do that a lot more coming up here in 2025. So, and with that being said, we are out. So, episode 55 in the books of the Paddle Talk podcast. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you again here for episode 56 shortly.
And don't forget, guys, go ahead, check us out on worldsandgernews.com. Click on that photo tab. We've got photos from California to Kentucky, Michigan to Missouri, and everywhere in between. One of the best ways to support what we're doing here at World Sand Drag News, helps us get out and cover all those different events that everybody here on the panel has been talking about. And it just helps us out tremendously. So we'll see you guys in 2025.